With controllers and views added, it's time to care about the model. The problem with our model is that we have a very simple one. We manage our products array here, and a product is simply created on the fly as an object that looks like this. Now, in the end, that product represents our data. We have products in our app. Later, we'll also have other things like a user, but for now, it's just a product. Still, we can define a model for that. And for this, let's create a new folder in our root project and name it models. Now, all these names are exchangeable, of course, but this makes the separation really clear. We get controllers, we get views, we get models, and that makes up the MVC pattern. Now in there, I'll add a new file, product.js. Now please note, it's not products here, because I want to represent a single entity. Because in the end, our core data is a product. Sure, we also have lists of products with which we work, but the core thing that makes up the app is how a product looks like, which fields it has, does it have an image, a title. That is our core data. A list of products is boring, it's just, well, more of that type. A single product is what defines our app in the end, or part of what defines the app. Now, how does this model look like? This is totally up to you in the end. You can define this in whichever way you want. You can, for example, simply export a constructor function here. So a function which I name product, and you call that to create new objects based on that, using an ES5 constructor function. But if you're using next-gen JavaScript, as I'm doing it here, you can instead create a class. You can create a class named product that looks like this, and this is now also exported. And in case you're not sure what a class is, check that JavaScript refresher at the beginning of the course. I do explain it there too. Now here in this class, I want to define the shape of a product. And for this, I'll first of all create the constructor function. So here, I want to receive a title for the product, which I will then create from inside my controller. So here, I get my title, and you can name this title, of course. And I will then create a property in this class. So basically like a variable in the class, you could say. You do this with the this keyword, and then this title is equal to the title I'm receiving as an argument here. And these names don't have to match. And to avoid confusion, you can also name this t here. So now I'm creating a property in this class. This allows me to then create an object based on this class where I can pass the title to the constructor, which we call with new. And then this will get stored in the created object. But obviously, I don't just want to be able to create objects with a title. I can do this with the current curly brace syntax too. Instead here, I want to be able to create to store my product to an array of products and fetch it. And for this, I will reintroduce my products array here, and we will change this later when we use a real database. But for now, let's go with this approach. And I will add a save method to my class here by calling save or by typing save, adding parentheses, and then curly braces. So it's like a function just without the function keyword. So this is now a method available in this class. And in the save method, I want to store my product in this array. And I can do this by reaching out to products and then calling push here, just as we did it before in the controller. And I simply push this, because this will refer to the object created based on the class. And that is exactly the object I want to store in this array. Now, obviously, I also want to be able to retrieve all products from that array. And I also want to do that through my product model. However, whereas save makes sense to be called on a concrete instantiated object based on product, I also want to have a fetch all method, which is like a utility function, you could say. This is not called on a single instance of the product because it should fetch all products. And I don't want to create a new object with the new keyword with some dummy title just to fetch all existing products. And therefore, I will add the static keyword, which JavaScript offers, which makes sure that I can call this method directly on the class itself and not on an instantiated object. And then in here, I will return this products, like that. Now this is the model finished. Now let's move to the products controller file. There, I will first of all get rid of products here at the top and also of products push down there, because now I want to use my model. I also don't need that anymore. So that I got no products array related logic left in this file. Instead, I will now import my class by adding a new constant, product, and you can name this however you want, but the convention is to use a capital starting character for classes, and in the end we do just import this class, so I will add the capital character in this controller file too. And I do import the class by requiring this from the models folder from that product.js file. With that added, in post add product, I will now create a new object based on this class blueprint. And that is what classes are in the end. They are blueprints. So I will create a new product, a local constant, with new product. And there I will pass request body title. And that simply takes the title I have here as a name on my input which is submitted. With this, we create a new product based on our class. Now there's one additional thing that needs to be done though. I want to save that. And I can do that by calling product save. This will use that save method we defined, and it will therefore, for now, push that onto this array. Now, with that, in get products, I also want to fetch all products. So I will create a new local constant, products, and now I will use that static method because I don't want to create a new product where I would have to set up some dummy title because I don't create a product here. Instead, I just want to use product and call fetch all. And this should give me all the products. And now I have my products here. And if I save this, it should now work. If I go back and I reload this page, I get cannot read property length. That makes sense because fetch all returns this product, which is incorrect. It should just return products, because we are returning this array, not some local property of this class. There is no products property. So after fixing this and removing this down there, now if I reload this, this works. And if I now try adding a first book, this again works, now using a model. And whilst this might look more complicated right now, and it certainly is because we're just using our dummy storage here, this is great once you really got more complex models with more fields, with more methods, and where you don't store them in some random array, but where you got the whole database connection logic and so on too. You then put that all into your model and you don't have to care about it in your controller. And let's actually simulate this by moving away from our array storage here and move towards a file storage at least, before we then later in the course also use a real database.